Are you a fan of albums that make you feel like you're dreaming? Are you a fan of albums that you can relate and vibe to? Are you a fan of albums that overall are just wonderful pieces of work? If you answered yes to any of those questions, well, you're in for a treat today. This isn't an infomercial, I just thought that would work for an intro. Regardless, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Today, we are back with another album review. Not just any album review. Today, we are reviewing Peripheral Vision by Turnover, which right off the bat, I just want to say is a great experience start to finish. But what are the components that make this great experience such a great experience? So that's what we're gonna figure out today, because I'm reviewing this thing and I'm gonna waste no more time. I'm gonna get straight into this. So yeah, let's go. Track one, baby. Alright, so in track one, we got Cutting My Fingers Off. What a wonderful title. So believe it or not, me coming across this album was kind of an accident. So I was listening to track two on this album, which was the only song I knew at the time. But then I think I accidentally clicked on this album and I heard this intro. I was just, wow, whoa. Anyway, so it starts off with some nice ambience and some light guitars, and it starts off very mellow. And there's a nice little 4 bars to start the verse. They're very reminiscent before it drops and just starts this absolutely soul-lifting experience. As you'd expect from an intro, it gives you a good idea of what the album's gonna sound like, just sonically and just overall. Lyrically, the song is about like a past love and just reminiscing on those times, while also expressing that the loss was very painful. As the title line suggests, losing you is like cutting my fingers off. Super raw lyrics, but the vibe on this opener, man, it's euphoric. I don't know how else to word it. And like I said, the first time I heard it, I was like, oh my goodness, I just found something wonderful. And I'm sure I speak for a lot of people, because man, it is just a wonderful track, a great intro. It's just very nicely done. But yeah, I give this track a 9.5 out of 10. On to the next. Alright, with track 2, we got New Screen. So this was the first track I heard from these guys. Sonically, we continue this indie pop, spacey, reverby vibiness. Lyrically, the song is about, from what I assume, like living with the fatigue of depression and all those fun things, while also expressing a need for something more, a new scream if you will, something to help feel more alive. Also just wanting to turn your brain off, which I'm sure is something we've all felt at one point or another. Water. Yeah, nice verses, nice chorus. After the second chorus, we have a nice little bridge, and it leads into this kind of second chorus, and it loops very nicely. Like they wrote it to where the lyrics, they loop, and you could say it over and over, and it loops, and it's so, I love it when artists do that. They just make it loop, and it's cool. Yeah, it goes into this nice little lyrical loop, and the song ends with that little lyrical loop, and well, that's New Screen. In general, it's a nice track. I give it a 9 out of 10. On to track 3. Alright, with track 3, we have Humming. So this track is the first taste of a more upbeat kind of sound. I like to think of it as something you'd bump on a road trip, because it's just a feel-good song for the most part. Of course, we're still on that vibey indie pop kind of sound. Lyrically, we're looking at things like being in love and just wanting to be with someone, which always makes for some nice tunes, as it did here. But it's just overall a smooth, upbeat song. Has a nice music video with it. If you're a fan of more like abstract and artistic kind of videos, I definitely recommend giving it a watch. But yeah, I give this track an 8.5 out of 10. Good stuff. Next track. Alright, with track 4, we have Hello Euphoria. Firstly, I want to say, this song is a banger. Initially, when I had my phase with this album last year, this was one of my favorite tracks. So much so, it was my 5th most streamed song of the year and my most streamed song of the year on YouTube. So, safe to say, I love this track. All my fangirling aside, we continue this indie pop reverby journey, coming back to the more melancholy side of things. The track lyrically tackles from what I assume is the effects of like aging and or depression, maybe both, and just in general feeling distant from everything. And checking the Genius annotation, apparently the lyrics about being thinner are referring to stimulants and how using them can cause weight loss in an aging phase. So maybe I was right to an extent. Regardless, this track is a banger. Sonically, it sounds wonderful. I don't know how many times I've done this in one of my album reviews, if I've even done it ever, but I'm giving this track a 10 out of 10. So yeah, on to the next track. Alright, with track 5, we have Dizzy on the Come Down. So this would be Turnover's most popular track, but I can understand why. A love song would be the best way to describe this one, with the lyrics being about wanting to be with someone and wanting to dance and all that fun stuff. Regardless, it's a very vibey track, and one I'm sure has been used in TV shows, maybe even movies. But sonically, it sounds nice, it fits in with all the others. It's good stuff. Not my absolute favorite, but I can still vibe with it. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. On to track 6. Alright, with track 6, we have Diazepam. Returning back to the more emotional, melancholy side of things, this track is very vibey. Kinda keeps the same pace as the last track, but it's like the opposite vibe. Lyrically, this track tackles the effects of being on diazepam, mixed with the realities of just being depressed or heartbroken. There are some hard-hitting lyrics in these verses, which I can always appreciate. There's a nice riff in the hook that's very catchy. Overall, this track's a viber. One for the rainy days, if you will. And fun fact, my mom loves this track, so there you go. Anyways, I give this track a 9 out of 10. On to the next track. Alright, with track 7, we have Like Slow Disappearing, getting right back to the more upbeat vibes. Basically, we have ourselves a track about tripping with a girl. I'm almost positive, because man, look at the acronym. I didn't even realize that until I started doing this review. Part of me feels like that was intentional. Anyway, this track is upbeat, like I said, nothing wrong with that. Lyrically, it's a love song mixed with some nice analogies and just recollections of said trip. A nice tune, and there's not much else I could really say about it. If you like more psychedelic themed tracks, then this one is perfect for you. Anyways, I give this track a 7 out of 10. On to the next track. Alright, with track 8, we have Take My Head. This track is another one of my favorites. It's also a very interesting case of a track. So we're still in that upbeat territory, but this time the lyrics are the complete opposite. Lyrically, we have expressions of things like jealousy and depressive thoughts and just wanting to die. What a happy tune. But yeah, some nice verses, a very catchy chorus. We have a nice bridge in between the second and last hook. Slows down the pace and all that and just gets real vibey before just picking back up into the last hook. It's a nice little change of pace. It doesn't take away from the track one bit. Other than that, this is another one of those songs that goes well in the car just because of its upbeat sound, not so much the lyrics. Yeah, I give this song a 9 out of 10. On to the next track. Alright, on to track 9, we have Threshold. So this entry will probably be the shortest because this is only an instrumental. I guess it could count as an interlude of the album. There's no lyrics for me to look at, so this is just a nice, vibey, dreamy, minute-and-a-half long experience. I have zero problems with it. I give it an 8 out of 10. On to the next track. Alright, with track 10, we have I Would Hate You If I Could. Yeah, remember those love songs we were talking about earlier? But now we're in breakup song territory. And man, do these guys know how to pull at your heartstrings. Lyrically, as you guessed, we have some heartbreak. This track just hits hard, man. It has some very nice lyrics in the verses. If you've ever gone through any type of breakup, this track should be relatable to some extent. And as the title suggests, it's also about wanting to hate someone if you could. That's a valid thing to feel towards an ex if you ask me. Regardless, this track is a gloomy yet cathartic experience and easily one of the standouts on the album. I give this song a 9 out of 10. On to the last track. Alright, with track 11, we have Intrapersonal. So here we have ourselves the outro track. And not to be confused with interpersonal. Apparently intrapersonal means within oneself, and interpersonal is within two people. So this is more of an introspective track unlike the others. Lyrically, we tackle things like living with depression and just trying to feel better. And they sonically complement that theme very well. It's like a nice upbeat, nostalgic feeling, and it's nice. I have a nice little bridge after the second hook, and it keeps the same pace and just brings in another melody before picking back up into one last chorus. Super fitting for an outro track. It ends off with like 10-15 seconds of like ambience, and then that's it. It's one of those no don't end moments because this album is such an experience, but all good things must come to an end, am I right? Anyways, very nice and fitting outro track. I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. And there we have it, ladies and gents. I've had this review planned out for like a few weeks, so I'm glad I finally sat down and just knocked that out. But yeah, I'm gonna keep this outro short and sweet. You made it to the end of the video, I appreciate you, because some people just click off halfway through and it's like, well, you know, like, okay. So I do appreciate you. Anyways, I don't have too much else to say. I do have a couple more video ideas that I'm hoping to hop on here really soon, so hey, expect maybe some more sporadic uploads. I don't know. I haven't uploaded. My last upload was a year ago. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video and you want to keep up to date with me, well, I make music and you can find all that stuff up here. So that is where I'm most active. Regardless, hope you enjoyed the video. You can leave a like if you did, comment if you did, subscribe if you're new, and yeah, I'm gonna stop talking. Hope you have a good rest of your day. It's been Tiller, and I'm out. Peace.